This is Kavya Christopher for Bangalore Times, and today we have with us very special guests, Ambi Subramaniam and Bindu Subramaniam. Welcome, and really happy to see you here.
Thank you so much for having us, Kavya. It's always great to have a chat.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here.
Lovely. So here we are starting off straight with the topic that I'm wanting to know more about, the grant that has been given to SAPA. Will you tell us a little bit about it, Bindu? Would you want?
Yeah, absolutely. So, for the last few years, Ambi and I have been really excited about working in Australia because the collaboration between India and Australia is something that's kind of been in the spotlight. And from the Australian perspective, they really love India. You must have been seeing in the news the kind of receptions and stuff that have been happening. And the Indian diaspora, like many other countries, forms a very large and important part of the Australian fabric right now. So I think there are over 1 million Indians and Australia has only 25 million people. So Indians are kind of well regarded there, and a lot of good stuff is happening. So when we went a few years ago as part of the Australia-India Youth Dialogue, we did a concert at the Sydney Conservatory with a couple of professors there. And then we started having a conversation with them about how this could be a long-lasting collaboration. And one of the things that we were thinking about is how do we bring Indian music education into higher learning in Australia? Because I think sometimes we have a tendency to over-exoticize Indian music.
Right, we always do.
We always do.
Especially abroad, yes.
Exactly. So this idea of it's not about sitting in a smoke-filled room and having an embodied experience with a spiritual instrument, but really how can we understand and appreciate the rubric, as it were.
And actually take things that can be learned and used in different types of music.
So can we, for example, apply raga frameworks to Western classical compositions, or can they use that for jazz improvisation, or can they use konakol patterns and ballad structures when they're doing percussion? Can contemporary songwriters understand how this works? So how do we bring learning of Indian music forms into the university structure? And that's something that they have been looking for as well, and they were excited. And the second piece that we are interested in is how do we help diaspora musicians, not just Indian diaspora, but musicians from all around the world who are now based in Australia, learn to communicate with audiences that are not familiar with their music. So if I'm a rhubarb player, or if I play the lute, how can I explain my music in a workshop, or how can I teach Australian children? So we'll be working with a lot of musicians as well to kind of help them give workshops and help them be teachers. So we're really excited.
So what does this involve? How often do you have to communicate with them? What is the whole process going to look like now?
So you want to?
Go ahead.
He's just looking at that. Once in a while I will let him talk, I promise. Otherwise I will just keep going. So it's going to roll out over a couple of years. It'll start with a visit from the professors of the university and their team at the end of the year, where we'll have an intensive workshop with them for about a week or 10 days. Then Ambi and I and a few of our team members will go over there and work with the professors and the students there, and then we'll figure out how to launch the program and our workshops, and then again they'll come back. So it's kind of this back and forth deciding how to design these courses so that it'll live way beyond this collaboration. So even if our partnership on paper for now is 2 or 3 years, it's how do we institute something that's going to live forever and kind of get us on next.
Right, that's interesting. So does this happen often? Did you look at any other country as well, or this was only what you focused on from the beginning?
So one thing that was really great is there is an organization called the Center for Australia-India Relations that is supported by the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, that has been established to sort of promote the relationship between Australia and India. So they had grants available, and that's what we applied for. So they're the body that has really made this possible. But Ambi and I have always been excited about different collaborations and partnerships.
Yeah, we worked in the past with some other countries like Norway, where we've really worked for teacher training and things like that, which has really helped the SAPA in Schools program. And we've also gone there to kind of do workshops and for their school children and things like that. So I think that has been a very nice collaboration that we've had for the last
a decade. It's been running for a decade, and it's still going strong. So we still have them coming every year, and we pretty much go every year. And
it's wonderful to see so many children especially in this age, also be so interested in this kind of music, right? Do you see any challenges in terms of keeping this kind of interest alive, maybe in parents or in the children among them? What do you think? Is there a
So I feel like there's never been
also that?
I mean, I don't think there's ever been a problem with music as such. I think the challenge comes with methodology, and especially when you're looking at like traditional forms of music, you need to make sure you're presenting it in a way that resonates with today's kids. So it needs to be in an environment, for example, where kids can ask questions, right? Where you can be like, why am I doing this? Or I don't understand this, or how does this work? And I think kind of making them part of that process is really important. So we've been working with a lot of schools in Bangalore for like the last dozen years, and we can kind of see that shift that's happened where, you no longer have like these kids who become teenagers and decide that Indian music or anything other than rock and pop is not cool. By the way, I think rock and pop is very cool. And I'm cooler than Ambi. So. But also to be able to continue to respect and love different styles of music. So I really think it comes down to the methodology and how you communicate.
And I think for any traditional, any style of music, but even with traditional music, it's important to kind of get that message across that it's all dynamic. So it's not something that you're learning. Sure, a tune from 200 years ago, 300 years ago, but it has evolved. A lot of things are happening, and if you are learning it, you can also take it in your own way. So I think that's important for kids to also understand.
When we first had like Baby Tyagaraja and Baby Dikshita, and we started putting them on t-shirts, and under Baby Dikshita we put the original fusion musician, which was kind of triggering for some people. But if you think about it, it's true, right? When we think about classical music, it's the classical music of that time, which was cutting edge for them, right? So what Dikshita did a couple of 100 years ago was very different from what people who came before him did. So it doesn't mean that classical music has to be stuck there, and it continues to evolve.
But both of you have experimented with things, with classical music and as well as a lot of additions, right? You have your band also.
Yeah.
So I think there also I think the style also allows that. So it allows you to kind of try different things and certain things. I mean, in a bigger context, a lot of artists try certain things live on, certain things you experiment and something else happens. So I think that's the beauty of music in general, where you can keep experimenting and trying things. For us, like Subramania was a nice space for us to firstly, I think, find a way for us to collaborate.
Yeah, we lived in the same house and we tended to perform one after the other, but we didn't have a space for us to play music together. So that's what Subramania was for us to start.
Yeah, so we were like, okay, this shouldn't be a space where like I'm trying to figure out what to play on your stuff or you're trying to figure out what to do on my stuff. So I think that was also a fun thing where like, okay, this would be really cool if we take this Hungarian gypsy melody and try to fuse it with Indian music, or let's take like this Spanish flamenco rhythm and try to do that. So I think that was kind of the way it started, and that is something that we're continuing to do. So it's a lot of fun for us musically.
Yeah. And with the Taishalam project, it was again more traditional and classical stuff, but also had to bring in like electronic music and production, and having Mahesh and Akshay also did it very different.
Any other new projects like this coming up, or do you stick to these two setups, these two projects? Because you now with the grant and your school and so many other things, where do you find the time to?
I feel like we're always doing a bunch of things, and I blame ADHD for my I want to do 1,000. I'll wake up in the morning and be like, Ambi, our idea for today is we are going to, and I'll just rattle off something that probably take 10 years to come to fruition, and he'll be like, okay, but how about we also do the other things that we agreed we were going to do today? But we
I think you read both sides.
Yes, you do.
But we've also just signed an agreement with Carnegie in New York, and that's another thing that we're really, really excited about for two projects. One is the Lullaby Project, and that one is really close to my heart because I love the idea of lullabies. I've always loved singing lullabies, and in our SAPA curriculum, we introduced them for even kids as young as 3, and the idea of that singing and the love of a parent to a child, and we've used lullabies, I think, as a thread running through our books to help, again, de-exoticize global music for Indian kids. Because when you're, say, teaching an African song, instead of saying, okay, this is us here in India and this is what we do, and those kids in Africa, they communicate from bush to bush using talking drums, and instead of that, you'd be like, here's a song that a mother sings to her child, and it's in a different language, and they happen to be from Africa, but the love is the same, right? So then you sort of create connections before prejudice sets in. So lullabies have always, in that context, been really close to our hearts. So now with the Lullaby Project, what we get to do is we get to work with parents and caregivers who are not necessarily from musical backgrounds and pair them with a lullaby artist who we will train to create lullabies for their kids. And I think it's a really nice way to sort of communicate the bond that already exists between parents and caregivers and give them something special that they can take away. And it's a project that's been doing really well in the US with Carnegie for about 15 years, and we're really excited to bring that to India for the first year.
That's exciting. And you mentioned methodology, how you teach children.
Yeah.
I think that kind of shows in this project. But tell me more. I'd love to know a lot more about how you bring in music in mainstream studying. Is there something that you could share? How are you doing this with children?
Yeah, absolutely.
So right now, I mean, we're really lucky. We work with about 50,000 kids in different places. But I think for us, the methodology is to make sure that music is fun and that music is an integral part of everyone's life. So I think our focus here isn't to make musicians, but to just make music an important part of everyone's life. So we work with, of course, Indian music, and that forms a base. But then we teach music from around the world with the idea that maybe somebody may be really involved with, say, rock, or somebody may really like flamenco, or somebody may really like Carnatic, but that's fine. So we're just trying to give them like an initial taster, and then from that, people can kind of find what they like. And methodology-wise, we also kind of use a lot of simple hand instruments in the class, because as you grow older, some kids may be more interested in rhythm, some kids may be more interested in singing, all of that. So also as part of that, this year, another thing that we've kind of partnered with Carnegie is their Link Up project, where essentially we're looking to make orchestras in India. So I think that will be kind of unique in the music and school space, where we're trying to make different orchestras in different places. And I think as part of our collaboration, we've also told them that we want to use at least half of that for Indian music and create our own material. So that is going to be very exciting, and it's going to be a big thing to try to pull out.
A fair bit of work to create string orchestras across schools, but I think it's a great way for kids to experience community, like playing in communities and working together, and I think that really contributes to mental health and well-being.
Yeah, that process of just performing together with 30 people, 50 people, 100 people, just kind of, you don't have to be a great singer or a great musician or whatever, but then that feel that you get when you're performing with so many people is very special.
That's something. Bindu, you've authored a lot of textbooks also for music. Would you be able to share something more about this process and when you're going with that?
So I think a lot of, I call myself an accidental entrepreneur a lot, because I feel like it started somewhere and now we've ended up somewhere entirely different than where we envisioned. That's my ADHD. So when my daughter was born, the one triggering thing for me was people saying that, oh, I don't like classical music, or I can't learn classical music and it's hard. And what was triggering for me is that it used to be quite true that it is hard. Like, even for us, we've had the great fortune of a lot of wonderful teachers and stuff. But when we were kids after school, we would go for a Carnatic music class to this really lovely auntie. But
the thing is, we'd go after school, we'd be in our uniform, we'd sit on the floor, and it would be these like charpai mats, right? The little bamboo poking, and then they're like poking your feet, and then the mosquitoes are biting you, and then your brother is annoying, and then you've got like, it's not
She's
a
talking
textbook.
about her other brother.
As you choose to take it. And then the book that you have is not a really nice, it's this cyclo-styled book which was originally written in the 1960s, and you put your finger on the book and then the ink comes off and then the binding is poking you, and then so like you're just so annoyed and overstimulated before the class begins. Like, how are you in a position to receive well, right? And a lot of people, and then some people have had teachers after that who were like, okay, now you be quiet. I'm going to sing and you're going to listen, and then you're going to sing, I'm going to tell you that it's wrong. So, so I was like, we have to do this better because the music is great. Like if you listen to an MS Subbulakshmi or if you listen to a G.N. Subramaniam or Chamagudi, the music is great. There's nothing wrong with it. But this whole experience that we built around it is quite a traumatic experience for...
Yeah.
If you liked it, then it's a huge
Yeah,
thing.
so that's the first barrier to overcome.
And then also because of that, because the way it's taught there, like until you're 6 or 7, you can't learn classical music. You have to be serious. You need to have this, and all of those things happen. But like for so many other styles of music and for any other kind of thing, you're like, okay, you start learning when you're 2, you start learning when you're 3.
And you're clapping, you're moving, you're enjoying. So the first thing that we wanted to fix there was the book. Like I think this book was a very triggering thing for me. So I said, I really want to create a beautiful book to teach Indian classical music to babies. That was the thing. And to be very honest, I know nothing about designing books. Like I was on Shutterstock. I designed the first book on Microsoft Word. I had a friend who sort of knew how to use CorelDRAW, and we pieced this whole thing together. And then I was like, okay, but with the book, we need some audio. So we went and recorded 2 CDs in those days, right? And then I went to the printer and I'm like, okay, I would like to print 5 copies of this beautiful book that I've made. And he's like, okay, your minimum order quantity is going to be 500 here. and I was like, whoa, I don't know how this works. And at that point, we had a choice, right? The choice was either to like walk back and go to Printo and get 5 spiral bound copies, which would then kind of put us back in the same place that I didn't want to be, or take the risk. So I took a loan from my dad for 50,000 rupees, which felt like all the money in the world, really.
At that time, definitely. Sounds like a lot.
Yeah, this was like 2013, 2014. So I took a loan for 50,000 rupees from him. And then I was like, okay, how do we get this book out there, right? So I would like walk into books. I've like walked into Planet M's and I've walked into like Crosswords and I was with this book, and I'm just so convinced that people will see this book and realize that it's important, but no, nobody thought it was important. So, and then I would like write to like Baby Oi had just launched at that time, and First Cry had just launched, and we started selling a few on Amazon. Like I signed up as a seller on Amazon, and then we shipped 40 books to Amazon in the European Union, and then 40 books to Amazon, and it slowly started moving. But then I was like, what more can we be doing? And so then I was like, maybe we could sell these books in bulk to schools.
Okay.
And then so I started talking to schools, and like I was like, we could distribute through Scholastic, but Scholastic only distributes Scholastic books, which I did not know at that time. Very accidental entrepreneur, right? But you have this like optimism that you just think you're doing something smart, even though you're doing dumb things day after day.
That's not dumb, actually. At least giving it a shot. I mean, how many people just like don't even try?
But you have to keep failing. That's the point. I mean, like now when people look at SAPA, they're like, oh, like you probably had something set up for you and you just walked in and it was great. But so we went to school after school, and then finally one school decided to give us a shot in their book fair, and we sold 1 book, and I was like, wow, now we have made it, right? And then we went to more schools, and some schools was like, yeah, this is great, but who's going to teach this? And then I was like, we will teach this. And that's how SAPA School started. And so through that program, so the first year what we taught was entirely Carnatic music.
Okay.
And then we realized that this is probably not the right thing for schools. So then we started creating new materials and new books, which became the SAPA in Schools program. And every year we started reevaluating what music in schools should look like. So it went from Indian music to Indian and global music. And then how do we get kids to sing in harmony? And then at the pandemic, we realized that the world is changing. How do we support our kids? So we built a lot of social emotional learning into it, right? Like how do you teach kids to be emotionally aware, resilient? because we are not bound by the same rules as the maths teachers and the science teachers. For us, we want to spread joy, right? And if you can sing in pitch, that's great. But your first priority, we always tell our music teachers, your first priority is to walk in and make sure that the kids feel loved and then they love music. So we build a lot of social emotional learning through stories, through activities, through songs. Then how does music relate to other subjects? Like how does music bring about social change, which is a conversation that you have with kids in grade 2, right? You're singing We Shall Overcome in so many different languages. And we just heard from a school that we met yesterday that one of these kids took this to mean, yeah, we should be respectful to other people. And I think my mom is not always very nice to our house help, so I need to have a talk with her. So it's really nice.
Like a 7-year-old.
Yeah, and then we're like, okay, now how do we focus on different styles of global music? So maybe in grade 2 we'll do African music, and in grade 3 we'll do a different style of music. We'll do the music of Europe, we'll do the music of Latin America. So through that we've ended up writing a lot of those books. Then we created a whole series of books to teach Carnatic violin. We've been working on Western instruments, we've been working on Mridangam, and so just to kind of create this body of fun textbooks for kids to learn music and love it. And then on the other side, which is honestly more boring for us, we both got our PhDs.
Okay.
And so we've been doing a fair bit of academic writing and like books on how the method works and what the methodology is and all the heavy stuff which the kids don't need to care about. And
because we found that even in government schools where our program runs, we found that attendance improves on the day where music class is there. So I mean, we're super happy that kind of impact is there.
Like, I mean, if music class is the reason you want to come to school, or in other schools we've been hearing that the buses are now musical, or kids are not fighting in the hallways because they're doing body percussion. And so I mean, this whole piece around music for music's sake, but then also how is it seeping into different parts of everyday life?
And the performances and the super talented kids going and all of that happens by itself.
And then, I mean, in SAPA itself, we have kids who've been working with us for a decade plus who are now professional musicians. They're going out and they're winning awards and they're performing concerts. And we're like, it's a matter of pride for us that we have both, right? That we have our former babies who are going out and doing such good work, but also that, you know, they're kids who love to sing just because they've had music class in school.
That's really lovely. They're touching so many people's lives, not just the children, but I'm sure they go back home and that affects other people in their home, and that kind of, you know, just spirals into this beautiful.
And we've kind of also like really tried to focus on teaching first generation music learners. So what we've done is we've tried to make it more welcoming for the parents as well, because a lot of times you kind of gets stuck within musical families. So like all our books have notes to parents, and also so trying to do things where we're trying to get the parent who may not be aware of what's happening in class kind of more involved, and so that makes a huge difference.
That's really wonderful. You have been involved in a lot more student exchanges also, right? Can you tell me more about that? Your journey through that?
So I think one is, of course, the Norwegian partnership that we've been having. We've also been having their final year BA students come and work with schools here. We've also done a lot of workshops around the world. So I think it's really interesting for us to be able to look at spreading Indian music in different spaces. Sometimes they're for just violin students, sometimes they're for composers, sometimes they're for, say, Western classical or jazz musicians. So I think it's really interesting to see how our music can work effectively and what they can help different styles of music. So sometimes we may look at certain things and okay, fine, let us work on this aspect of rhythm because this will really help these set of composers. So things like that, I think. And of course, sometimes it gets a bit technical with the violin. So these student exchanges have been great. We've also had the opportunity of having our SAPA students go to different places. Like she mentioned, they went to the Sydney Conservatory, and that's one of the best places in the world to study music.
And what age group was this?
So this was about what?
13 to
Yeah.
18?
Yeah,
Yeah, 13 to 18.
13 to 18.
And that must have been exciting.
It was amazing because I think we could see their minds open in real time.
Because you're walking around these buildings and then you'll hear somebody practicing in one corner, and then we walked into another place and there's a full symphony orchestra rehearsing, and it's just these sort of peak experiences, right, that open your mind up to what is possible. And then of course you get to see kangaroos and penguins, and there's really nothing better than that.
Yeah, and a lot of times these kids will kind of come to us after someone's like, why aren't we doing this? Why don't we take this and we can use this to, so I think it's really fun for us.
So, what is the situation like for music in India right now, which you feel should be better, and you've seen somewhere that you were talking about the kids' suggestions, right? So, what do both of you feel should be brought in immediately, like ASAP?
Oh, that's
a lot.
list.
Yeah.
Where do you want us to start? I mean, I want to start by saying that I think things are better than they used to be.
For sure,
And
for sure.
I'm very grateful that I think we're moving in the right direction in terms of parents being very open to kids learning music and actually being excited about the idea of holistic education and being okay with one less math period in the week. So I think we're moving in the right direction with that.
I think 10 years ago, we had to convince schools that music was important. Now
and that it is a subject, and it's
Yeah.
not just a class where you teach patriotic songs that then go into assembly, or teach movie songs that then go into annual day, right? Like that
Yes.
Yeah.
was largely the purpose of music education. And I think that was our fight for the first decade, and I don't think we have to make that argument anymore. So that's
That's
a
a
big
big
win.
win.
It's a big win. And we in the early days also, we had to speak to so many parents of our music teachers because
Of the music teachers.
of
Yeah.
our music teachers,
Okay.
because all of these wonderful young music teachers were engineers who one day decided they didn't want to go back on the Infosys bus and they'd rather teach music to kids. And then you'd have these parents being like, my child has studied engineering and now they're going to ruin their lives, and who cares, who would marry a musician, and like stuff like that. So I think we're better there as well, that there are more parents who are open to the idea of their kids being professional musicians, professional music educators, and stuff like that. I think we still struggle a lot with access. That has been our big fight.
Yeah.
Like 50,000 feels like a big number, but it's a drop in the ocean in a country like India.
If you
So
compare it to the entire.
Yeah.
so there's so much more work that needs to be done. We also need to professionalize music teacher training. To make it a viable career option. We're really lucky that we got to work with Azim Premji University, and we set up an occupational minor for them. So we had this
Yes.
partnership with Azim Premji University that we were very fortunate to have, where we got to design an entire course for students who wanted to be professional music educators. So they could do a major in physics or biology or English, and then a minor, an occupational minor in music education. And the first batch of kids have kind of gone through that program, and I think that's the first of many, right? And I think it's important to create these pathways on a larger scale to allow people to become not just professional performing musicians, but music educators. And we need to have more university options for them to study music, for music to be taken seriously, more support to allow young creators to thrive. I think we're moving in those directions, but
Yeah.
there's so much more work to be done. Like a city like Bangalore has literally hundreds of spaces that could be converted into performance venues, right? Like every government office, every government building has a little amphitheater or like a little auditorium or something that's been built that probably gets kept locked except 2 days a year when they have their annual function
day.
or something like. So how could we make these community spaces accessible to people who want to perform? How could we have lessons there? How could we just create more of an environment for people to learn and experiment? And I think that would really change the
Yeah.
face of arts in India.
Absolutely. And I think generally there are great spaces like she was saying for musicians who are already established. But
New
yeah,
upcoming musicians.
so there, I think there's always been this kind of issue where you have musicians who are still kind of learning their craft, and you get better by performing, making
Yes.
mistakes on stage, figuring out what to do. So I think the best way to become a musician is just to keep performing, getting yourself out there. So for that, I think
Yeah.
there needs to be more
They
opportunities.
need more opportunities.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
how, I mean, who will create these opportunities? And there's also the question of who's going to go for these shows.
Yeah.
Most
So-
of the time, it'll be their close friends, family members.
Right.
But,
No, but
even an audience of 40 people when you're starting is
Yeah.
something, right? And even if it's an open mic night that a venue hosts once a month, or even if it's like these big apartment buildings also have beautiful clubhouses, even if they decide once a quarter that they're going to have a concert featuring the residents of their building, right? And then they have
Yeah.
one professional musician or somebody come in and tie it together nicely, right? I mean, you need to polish it a bit for the audience. Even if they do that, right? The experience for young people of working with a professional musician who will help them with things like, okay, maybe this is how you place your mic, or don't read lyrics from your phone, or maybe come in this way and say this and work on this part of the song and get your enunciation right, or work a little bit on dynamics. So just these kind of things, we need to figure out how as a community we can do it.
and they don't cost a lot.
Yeah.
Mm.
So but I think that it just takes a few people in every area who are willing to work with a small group of people, right? I don't think there's a single solution, which is
Yeah.
why we're very collaborative. Anybody who's doing anything in the music or music ed space, we're like, can we be friends? Like, shall we do something together, guys? Because I think this is bigger than anybody or any single organization, and it's going to take more
that's
than our
beautiful.
lifetimes.
I mean, you need to be into.
Yeah, for sure.
Right, okay. So, Ambi and Bindu, you've been together, you work together, you have businesses together, you perform together, and your siblings, you live together. Which is this one role that you like the most, one after the other? One role.
You can go first.
Telling her no.
Just
You
say
don't
no.
understand the question properly.
Which role of yours? Do you think you are comfortable as a collaborator, or working together, or performing together, or just basically fighting? I don't know.
I think in general we work well together as collaborators. I'm going to say something nice about you now. So even though she's an elder sister and all of that,
Nice.
when we work together, we work together as equals, and I've always felt that my opinion is valued as important as your opinion. So I think we work well as collaborators, and sometimes we have this thing where, okay, fine, if you really care about this more, you take lead, or if I really care about this more, then let's do it the way I want to. So I think we've had a good way of working together.
And it took me a while to realize that not everybody functions like that. Like, so if it's something that he really cares about, I'll be like, I don't have an opinion. We'll do it your way. Or if I really care about it, we're going to do it my way. So I was part of another sort of leadership group, and they're like, Bindu, what do you think? And I'm like, I don't care enough about this. And they're like, wow, that's rude. I'm like, I didn't mean it like that. I meant that I will defer to your superior opinion in this matter.
So yeah, sometimes we look at each other and okay, you take this one, or I'll take this one.
We are excellent as partners on board games, because
Oh, okay.
any game we can play,
Dhamsharaj, Pictionary.
Yeah.
and any language-based game, we will absolutely shred anybody else, because our non-verbal communication
You know
skills
what
are
you're
just
Talking,
Yep.
okay.
really. So now when we play with the family, we are not on the same team anymore.
Yeah, I think we're not
because they're
allowed
like,
to be on the
there's
same
no
team.
point.
That's cute. Okay, and when you disagree with each other, who's the first one to say, okay, let's talk it out, or decide to come to terms with come to a middle ground?
I think in any relationship, you're not equally angry at any given time. So if something goes wrong, and you're not equally angry. So I think it's the person who's slightly less angry who will be like, okay, let's, and that is not always the same person here.
Yeah, and I think in general, like, we both don't
We
really.
sound so mature.
Yeah.
Our therapist will be so proud.
Yeah, so I think we generally don't like blow our tops off and get that kind of thing where we lose sense of reason or emotion, but especially with each other. I think.
Yeah.
But in on the off chance that we do really get angry at somebody else, then yeah, like she's saying, normally both of us don't lose our cool with somebody. So then if she does, I'll let her calm down. Like, actually, let me handle this for the next whatever. And then and we get very angry about very different things.
Yeah, like I get extremely triggered by like gender discrimination and ageism. So I will like this nice polite person that you're seeing will just disappear, and then he'll be like, maybe you should sit down. And he's a stickler for professionalism. So if somebody comes in and is unprepared, or like somebody got drunk and didn't show up, he's like, it's the end of the world.
Absolutely. So I'm okay if somebody doesn't have all the skills in the world but is really trying their best.
Okay.
But if I feel like they're not doing that, then that really upsets me.
One quality, you've answered this in bits and pieces, but one quality you really admire the most in each other.
You go first. Say something nice about me.
Not ADHD.
No, I love
It
the
could
way
be good though.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and she believes it's a superpower.
Yeah.
So, but I think her ability to ideate and excite people, so that really translates beautifully in any room. And I think the fact that, our whole SAPA family is so well knit and tightly knit is because of that.
Oh, I was going to say you're good at math, but now I have to say something nicer. No, I think he's this belief that he has, which really translates that if he works at anything, he can do it, and that makes him brilliant. Like, so he will. Obviously, he's a fabulous violin player, but he'll just be like, okay, I'm going to play the piano, and he'll work for 2 months, and he'll be fabulous at piano. Or now he's like, I'm going to sing, and then he'll just put in a little bit of effort. So I love this ability to just decide to work at things consistently, and then just get fabulous at them. Go for it.
That's lovely. What's coming up next though?
Math.
Okay. Any one thing that you've taken from your parents, as in, first of all, is it a pressure is it still a pressure? Initially, maybe, you come from a musical lineage that, most people admire, and therefore you have to live up to those expectations. So anything, either way, what is it like back then to now?
I think I'll speak for myself here. I think I've grown past the point where I feel the pressure of, say, being a Subramaniam's daughter. And I think that the body of work that I've been able to do over the last 25, I've actually been on stage for 30 years. So the last 30 years at this point sort of speaks for itself. So I don't feel like I need to walk into a room and prove myself to anybody anymore. So no pressure, but I do really respect the amount of hard work that I see them putting in. And that's the biggest takeaway for me. Like to wake up every day for 75, almost 80 years and be like, okay, I'm going to work today and I have a lot of things to do and I'm going to be sincere. And like, I will take off a day and be like, burrito day. I'm going to be wrapped in a blanket. There will be television.
That's hard to imagine.
Oh, that...
Look at the number of things you guys are doing. Do you really take a day off?
Yes, when I burrito hard, but then I also ADHD power through and I'll be like, I wrote a book today. So I have to balance that.
Yeah, and I think like my parents don't take a day off at all. And so sometimes I look at them and like, you should be taking, it's important to do this, it's important to do this. So sometimes I look at them with exasperation. Sometimes I look at them like, okay, this is amazing. I have to bow my head down. So I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
When us as musicians and performers sometimes really admire that. Us as children, they're like, you need to take care of your health. You need to do this. You need
Are
to
you
do
having
that.
enough protein? What is your vitamin D level? And
Yeah.
have you did you take walks? And are you doing yoga?
Yeah. So I think we experience both.
And now with your children, what is the scene here in comparison to how you are with your parents?
Oh, I call us the sandwich generation because I get scolded by my parents and my child. And that just seems to be everybody's life experience at the moment. I take great joy in being the world's best aunt, though. He has a daughter, and our other brother, the smart one, has a daughter and a son. And so I just love spending time with them, and they're small and they still think I'm wonderful. With my daughter, jokes aside, it's like she's a more like she's a spicy version of me. So I really, and she's very sharp-witted, and so she's always giving it back. So I have to be like really on my toes. Like there's no BS when you're dealing with an intelligent teenager. And she also will suddenly be like, hey, I taught myself how to play guitar today. And it's just because there's been a guitar hanging on her wall for a couple of months and she had the day free, and she's now she plays guitar. Or she'll just write a song, and we loaded some software onto her computer, so now she knows how to use Logic. And so and you come home one day and her entire ceiling has been decorated.
It is designed for sneakers.
Yeah, she Converse was having a sale, and now she designs sneakers. So it's really cool to see the ways in which.
And I think that's also quite different from the way we grew up and the way we were. I think at that time we were taught you have to stick with one thing. You have to do it every day. I mean, which has of course its pros and cons, but I think now it's like, okay, fine, you're interested in 10 things.
Give
Do
it a
all
shot.
of them.
Do it.
At some point they'll all meet.
Yeah, and so she's a songwriter, and so she studies in my group of songwriters. But if she needs anything, she will go to him before me because they have this great relationship. So she calls him Buddy, and she'll be like, Buddy, I need this. I want to do that, and so they have a very close relationship.
Yeah, it's damn cute. I'd love to see everybody in action.
Oh yeah.
Okay. This is little technical. One raga that always feels like home.
Sindhu Bhairavi for me.
I think that changes from time to time, depending on what mental state I'm in. So, but you end up say I may be in a Charukesi kind of phase, then majority of my concerts will have that, or I'll be in a Chakravakam phase, so I think I have phases where just kind of go deep into one thing.
This is like his tomorrow I will learn the piano. Okay. Any artist on your bucket list that you really want to collaborate with? Outside of India maybe, or in India? Somebody that is one person I want to collaborate with.
I think there are a lot. Because I think for me as a composer, I generally get inspired by people. So most collaborations start with, I really want to work with this artist.
Who's the next one?
So, I mean, I've started working with this incredible musician, violinist from Tunisia. So his name is Zied. So we've just started doing some stuff together, and I think the next stage is trying to work on an album together and do more touring. So
I'd like to withdraw. I would love to work with A.R. Rahman again. I mean, just because of the person he is. I know that sounds like not the right answer. Obviously, his music is brilliant, but just his mind, having a conversation with him or working with him is just eye-opening. Another person I was just thinking this morning, it'd be really fun to sing with Shruti Hassan, I think. Because we all grew up together, Akshara, Shruti, Ambi, me, our other brother Narayana, on the sets of Hey Ram, and I ran into her again after years. And I think she's a tremendous musician, so I think that would be a fun thing to do, actually.
Possible. We should make that happen.
yeah.
Is there a concert you will never forget? It could be yours, it could be something you watched. Anything that comes to your mind?
So, what was that place that we played in Iceland? That was
Sticky Shoma.
Sticky Shoma. Yeah. I think so. That was insane because the entire town had only 1,100 people, and the biggest venue was the church. So we played for 250 people.
Yeah.
But I, for the next year, went and told everybody, like, I played for a quarter of the town's population. But that was amazing. It just felt otherworldly.
Yeah, and so we attached to the church, they have this thing called the Museum of Water, where basically they have water from different glaciers in these like tubes, and you can walk around and they have a library, and then the big hall, and we're like, so what do you do in this big hall usually? Yoga.
Yeah, and I remember us driving from Reykjavik to Sticky Sholma, and all of a sudden, like, it was a long tour, we were all tired, we were all sleeping. They stopped the car and said, everybody wake up, wake up, wake up. There. Northern Lights.
Oh, wow.
So we just got out of our car and looked, oh, this is amazing.
Wow,
Okay,
yeah.
time to go back to sleep.
That's so cool. Okay. The first lesson that your father taught you that will still remain.
Oh, the value of hard work, for sure.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
the foundational thing.
Okay. Okay. One musical tradition from another country that you'd want to explore.
So many. I mean, we've done a few. I'm thinking of what else? What next?
Maybe Irish. Like, I always loved that style of music, but I've not really collaborated with them.
That would be fun. We
Yeah.
should do something.
Yeah.
I feel like we're just going around the world, and we've done some stuff with West African music, and that has been fun. And then we've done some stuff with Gypsy music, and that has been fun.
A lot
Irish
of
sounds
flamenco. Yeah.
Flamenco. Irish sounds good.
Next.
And
Okay.
they have a cool violin tradition.
Yeah. Okay. So, in terms of practice, is it morning or evening for you?
I'm a morning person.
Whenever Devi allows me.
Okay.
I have a almost 2-year-old at home. So,
Okay, that will take up a lot of time.
and sometimes when I'm not playing music, also she'll like, Appa, violin. And I go, okay. I guess we're playing the violin now.
Okay, cool. She loves music, obviously. I mean, music must be running in the family even the
She
next
loves the
generation.
piano.
Yeah. So she likes sitting with the piano and kind of doing her thing.
Cute. Okay, apart from what you are working on, what's on your playlist? What kind of songs do you guys listen to?
Oh, I listen to a lot of like Green Day and Evanescence and Eminem, and so I'm very much like a
Okay.
90s and 2000s. And then there was a whole Taylor Swift phase, Coldplay, a lot of, and then of course there would be MS Subbulakshmi in that playlist. And so, but yeah.
I mean, for me, we also end up listening to a lot of similar music, and if I'm in the car with her daughter, then we just listen to whatever
She
wants, of
says.
course. But sometimes when you're trying to work on a new project, you're trying to explore a particular artist's work and try to understand that. So I would say a lot of the times it's that. So you try to deep dive into some style of music that you may not be very aware of. So yeah, a lot of times is that.
Okay, great. And one thing you would want to always, you probably do have something to share with younger musicians, performers, anything that you want to tell more people. You know, the one advice, I mean, I don't want to call it advice, but something that you live by.
You have to share your art, and don't wait for it to be perfect. Like the secret to writing one good song is writing 1,000 bad songs. So you might not feel like it's ready, but you need to be open enough to share. Find like this trusted group of friends that you share with first, but then don't sit with something until you feel like it's perfect, because it never will be. And like the death of an artist is 1,000 half-written songs or half-finished paintings, or, and we get so into our heads, right? We're so worried about everyone judging us. You need
That's
to.
true.
Yeah, I remember this conductor saying this beautiful thing. Like, the best thing about being a musician, if you make a mistake, nobody dies. A lot of the times, like, especially when you're on stage, you're so worried about, this should go exactly the way I have it in my head. but a lot of times mistakes are what drive your creativity, and sometimes you do something and say like, yeah, actually that sounds pretty interesting. Let me go explore that point. So I think it's like you practice everything, you try to work towards I wouldn't say perfection, but maybe excellence, and you do all of that. You think of 1,000 things when you're practicing, but then when you're on stage, you just need to let go.
Okay. So, what do you like more, this practice, this exploration, or performance?
So I think I really want to get into a space where you're comfortable enough to just explore on stage as well. Yeah.
A bit of both.
Because yeah, I mean, we've made so many mistakes on stage, but you realize that at the end of the day, it's actually not so much of a deal. You just kind of want to go and share your music and also have a good time, because you're walking on that line where you're performing for yourself, but also for other people.
And the audience is on your side. Like
Always.
so many times kids are afraid that the audience is going to laugh at them, or that what are people going to say, that whole spotlight effect, they're judging me, they're this. But the audience is on your side. Anybody who comes for a concert or an event is coming because they want to have a positive experience. They want to share something with you. So don't worry about being judged. They're on your side.
That's good. Speaking of the future, one last thing. AI is all over the place, and there's so many questions about music and creativity, and there's music completely done on AI. What are your thoughts about it? Where do you draw the line, or should there be a line? Or I don't think it's a possibility where you can draw a line anymore. So
Yeah.
I think young people, sorry, I'll let you answer as well. I think young people as creators need to be aware of what is out there. So I don't think sticking your heads in the sand is a good response to start with. So you need to know how technology is progressing, right? It started off with, ChatGPT can write lyrics, it's so cool, and Moises can remove the voice and we can use the backing track, to now, hey, write me a happy song that's 4 verses and then it spits it. So you need to know what's out there, and you need to protect your rights. And if you are using AI, the advice that I would have is, don't let it take away your creativity. I mean, if you're farming out the creative bits, then why are you a creative person? So if you're using it to get some help, if you're using it to push yourself forward, if you're using it to experiment, all of that is fine. But make sure that you're protecting what makes you an artist, and stay creative, right? ChatGPT, do your homework is a different thing.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you said. And I think also for artists now, apart from understanding what is there, I think it's important to know, like what you're saying, where your rights are. A lot of times now, like I found this out a few weeks ago, and I was quite shocked that when you distribute your music through different channels, sometimes
You sneakily get opted in.
there are automatic opt-ins where your music is used to train some AI out there. So if you don't want to do that, then you should know about these things and make sure you're opted out of these things. And I think in the bigger scheme of things, there needs to be some regulation. But as an individual, you need to know about everything that's out there. So I think it's a little bit of both.
strange phase of life.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, but I hope all your work, keeps everybody grounded and as creative as they should be.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. This has been really, really wonderful.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks so much.